Hello everyone, this is Raven here, and today we have a battle replay of the Lizardmen versus the Dark Elves, and myself versus Make Love, Not War. Very, very interesting. Quite the opposite in this game, I'm so sure. So anyways, over here we have 5 units of Saurus Warriors, 2 units of Feral Cold Ones, 2 units of Horned Ones, and then Kroq-Gar over here on his Carnosaur Grimlock. And then in the front line, we also have 1 unit of Skink cohorts going on. Just kind of fill in the ranks and kind of take a charge for these bad boys in the back. And over here, we have a Bastillodon with a Revivification Crystal. Just trying to get some healing and some models back across the line wherever we can. Or on Kroq-Gar if he gets beat up a little bit too much. So let's take a quick look at his abilities real quick. And as you can see right here, he has Deadly Onslaught. So what they did in this game is they actually upped the damage a little bit on it and the armor piercing. It used to be 18%, I believe, but now it's buffed up a little bit to 20%. Then I also have the Sacred Spawning of Zodal, which is 22% physical resistance plus 18% vigor. And then over here we have Cold-Blooded, so I can use this whenever he's out of combat. He also has Frenzy and Immune to Psychology, so very good stuff coming out of Kroq-Gar this time. And these unit of Horned Ones, I don't get to use them to great effect because they go on a rampage, which is unfortunate, and then they get bogged down by lots of heavy infantry by the Dark Elves over there, but they're very good. These guys are so good. You just have to really pay attention to if they get swamped down or not, be able to pull them out of fights because they have stupid high armor-piercing damage, 35 armor-piercing damage, and then 105 armor with a bronze shield. These guys are very, very tough. They hit like trucks, they have a good charge bonus, cause fear, and when they rampage, it could be a good or a bad thing depending on the target they're on. If they're on other cavalry, they're going to mop the floor with them. But if they're on a whole bunch of infantry and they rampage into them, it's not exactly what you want. And then over here we have some more heavy AP coming out of these Feral Cold Ones. So these guys are really cheap, like 400 or 500, something like that. But they do essentially the same thing as these guys, just not as heavily armored, barely though. 90 armor still on these guys, and they still hit like trucks, but they go on a rampage much, much quicker compared to these guys. See how it's like a yellow rampage and a red rampage? There's a difference there. I'm not sure if I can actually see, this one doesn't even rampage because it has the skinks on it. But sometimes units, depending on the color of the rampage, shows like how much stress they have to be under in terms of like when they're going to rampage and when they won't. So these guys, red rampage, they're going to break under like almost no condition. And these guys, yellow, so they'll hold out for a little bit longer before they freak out and they're just like, all right, we need to kill everything. And then over here we have a Skink Priest over here on a little pterodon riding around. Look at this guy, super happy. So he has the little bolas that he can drop. So the drop rock ability, very cool stuff. Doesn't do too much damage. I used it on some cavalry. I actually didn't even kill a single model, so I was like, all right, whatever. But the big thing is, I brought the Curse of Anrahir right here. So this actually negates the melee attack of lots of enemies, especially when you do an upgraded cast. It has a huge effect area, 55 meters, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot. You'll see it later on, and it's really important because when the Dark Elves, when that Murderous Prowess goes off, and these guys have just ridiculous melee attack. Like these guys are going to have melee attack probably in like the 60s or 70s, something like that. I can't quite remember how high it goes. So it adds 25% to their melee attack currently. So the minus 26 melee attack on this or whatever it was is going to be huge for me. It's going to be very important to get that off whenever Murderous Prowess goes off. And you'll see that in Wyson's Wild Form as well, making my troops even tankier and hit even harder, put everybody up to like 90 armor or even 135 armor or 130 armor if I were to cast it on Kroq-Gar, something like that, and then add that 25% weapon strength. If you can add 25% weapon strength to Kroq-Gar, you're in a good spot, because you'll be hitting for like 700 damage on somebody. But the main thing here is Malekith, who I'm going to be going up against, is going to hold out for so long. He is so tanky. He is so fucking tanky, because not only does he have amazing melee stats, amazing armor, a silver shield, but he also has a physical resistance of 20%, and he has a missile resistance of 15%, and is immune to psychology. He will never flee, and you're going to see that here. Like, the epitome of Malekith, just his stubbornness comes into play in this match. So for my opponent's front line, he has a couple of Witch Elves, 2 of them. Then he has a front line of Black Ark Corsairs, 4 of them. And then some Dread Spears in the back just to try and hold it up. Then some Dark Shards with shields. I like this pick. These guys are very good. High armor piercing damage, and they got that silver shield to protect themselves from any other range fire. And over here, we got some Cold One Knights. Not Dread Knights or anything like that, but these guys still pack a punch because they're on the Feral Cold Ones. Or just Cold Ones, I guess. They're not feral now. They're domesticated to a degree, as much as you could domesticate a raptor, I guess. And see how they got that little yellow primal instinct as well. So not too much to worry about. So actually maybe there's 2 types. Let me just review this real quick. So it says if they're under 50%, then they rampage, and these guys they just rampage whenever they get hurt. Alright, well, that's how it works. So these guys just, whenever they start taking a little bit of damage, they freak out. And whenever these guys drop below half, they have the chance to go ahead and start going into rampage. So let's go ahead and hit play on this. My opponent right here actually has a Canine Assassin, 2 of them. And let's take a look at their abilities. One has the Dark Venom. The other one has the Assassin's Trophy. The other one has another ability. He has the Black Dragon Egg, Dark Venom, Assassin's Trophy, and the Web of Shadows. He brought everything on this guy. He spent a lot of money on him, so hopefully we get to knock this guy out of the fight before he does too much damage for me. So right here, we took some initial casualties. Actually, no casualties. Just some initial damage from these Dark Shards shooting in against us, because we were able to soak up a little bit of that damage with our armor. And right here, I do kind of fuck up the charges a little bit, I think. I don't see... Okay, no, these guys got their charge off. The Skinks are going to charge in. All these guys charge in. Maybe it was another match I was thinking of where my charges don't go off. Hey guys, calm down back there. Sorry about that, my dogs are kind of misbehaving. And so right here, I'm going to be washing across the front line pretty heavily. And I move all my cavalry into the back, and I'm just like, you know what? Heavy AP on Malekith sounds like a good time. So he brings back in his Cold One Riders to start trying to like take out these guys, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to stick Kroq-Gar on this guy right here. And my Skink Priest is going to hover above just in case, because I don't want him in the fight, because he's still a priest, 30 armor, not a whole lot of melee health. So he actually got pulled in and got beat up pretty quick. But now that there's so much happening around here, I'm just like, you know what? Every little bit of damage helps, and it was a smart choice. Over here, these spears start trying to attack my horned ones, and these Pharaoh Cold ones, these horned ones go on a rampage, and these guys are on a rampage, and pretty soon these guys are going to go on a rampage too, because they're going to be taking a little bit of damage, and they're going to freak out. So these Dread Spears actually just completely messed up everything, and also something to note is that these Witch Elves also cause people to rampage whenever they hit them. The Madness of Cain right there for 16 seconds. Minus 24% speed, minus 10% melee defense, so anybody that they tag is just going to freak out, and that's exactly what happened over here. These Witch Elves hit these guys, even though they weren't below half health. They certainly could get them there with their high damage, but they lack a little bit of armor-piercing damage. But either way, it would start stacking up over time, and they caused these guys to rampage, which was really unfortunate, because them fighting against unarmored infantry is definitely not what I want them doing. I want them fighting against heavily armored infantry, being an anvil, we're being the hammer, rather, to my anvil, coming over here and cycle-charging these guys all over the place. So right now, what's going on is Kroq-Gar was kind of getting focused down by all these Dark Shards, so I started running him around, trying to intercept as much of these people as possible, because you can see they pull out their bows again, and I'm like, nope, not going to have any of this. I'm going to start chasing them down, trying to do as many cycle charges in the big groups as possible with him, and try and do as much damage as I can before they take out any of my important targets, any more than they already have, because they already decimated my cavalry force. As you can see, I am littering the floor with all my units right here. Very unfortunate stuff. This guy got cut down by a bunch of Witch Elves. Very sad. And in the front line, like I said, it's just a complete wash. Like, Blackheart Corsairs, they have a lot of armor. They have a lot of armor, but they don't have a lot of armor-piercing damage. And my guys hit like twice as hard as they do. So in the long run, I'm gonna just run through them very quickly, and you can see that as I have 3 almost full units of Saurus Warriors still in the fight. They're kind of, I can't really do anything about them because they're all rampaging. I can control this one unit. This is kind of where the downfall of the Lizardmen is. I'm only controlling my Lord, the Bastiladon, this one unit of Saurus Warriors, and my Skink Priest. That's all I have control of. And then over here, the Gaze of Malice goes off and absolutely destroys these poor Saurus Warriors. They get blown over, and they take a lot of damage in the long run. And then over here, the Blade Wind, or whatever it is, going off from Malekith. He has every single spell, by the way. Malekith didn't pinch any pennies. He brought everything with him to this fight, as he should have, because he's going to have a hard time. He's got Gaze of Malice, Soul Stealer, Doom Bolt, the Blade Wind, and Word of Pain, Chill Wind, Power of Darkness, Circlet of Iron, the Spiteful Conjuration. He brought everything. I don't think he brought the Destroyer, though, but otherwise he brought a lot of stuff. Kroq-Gar was trying to get in here on these Dark Shards, but he got intercepted by these Cold One Knights, so I'm going to go ahead and take them out very quickly. Kroq-Gar doesn't really care about any kind of large targets trying to attack him. He's on a Carnosaur. He's going to eat them alive. And right here, I can see that he's trying to cast some magic on me. Perhaps it'll show in a second. So I start putting him in a charge animation, just to try and dodge as much as possible. Right there, I run through those guys, and it barely dodges that blast. And that's exactly what I need, because right now, he has no melee defense, and all this magic coming against him, as well as anything that's trying to attack him, is going to absolutely devastate him because of that Assassin's Trophy going off. So I pop Sacred Spawning of Zodal. so I can get in here and start trying to fight this assassin if I can. And my Skink Priest is still kind of flying around trying to be a nuisance right here. And what's really going to hold it out for the longest time and make me win this game is this Bastiladon with a Revivification Crystal, because I'm able to put some heals off on some of my units, and especially when I get heals off on Kroq-Gar. And what I really need to do is pay attention to when Kroq-Gar is in combat against people like Malekith while the Assassin's Trophy is going off, because it certainly is there. So every single hit that Malekith puts on me is probably gonna hit, so I'm trying to get him on targets that are just infantry that I can bowl through and terrorize and get them to rout from the field and just come back and cycle charge somebody else, while heavy hitters like the Bastiladon or my Skink Priest come in and start doing some heavy lifting. So now it's worn off. These guys are all routing. They're gonna come back for sure, but I'm trying to finish off this Canine Assassin right here because he's being a terror, and I'm trying to finish off Malekith in any way possible. Like I said, because he's on foot and because he has such good melee defense and such high armor and physical resistance, it's so hard to kill him because these guys just keep knocking him over, and that silver shield keeps blocking all these little javelins that my skinks are throwing at him, and it's just such a bad time. It is truly just such a bad time for him right now. My Skink Priest over here keeps knocking him around, the Bastiladon keeps knocking him around, Kroq-Gar over here just has no shits to give. He just keeps fucking fighting with all these Witch Elves. He might go on a rampage if they get a hit off on him. There they go, they get a hit, and he's gonna rampage, but then they rout, and now he's gonna potentially, nope, he goes straight after Malekith. That's unfortunate. Oh man, that rampage is gonna wear off pretty soon though. Man, minus 44 melee attack and that Word of Pain, Assassin's Trophy going off, so I get control of him again. Immediately I'm just like, please get out of there, Kroq-Gar. So I'm trying to like get one last attack off on anybody and then pull him out. Come on. Come on, you can do it. And then these Dark Shards again start firing in, and these are what I really need to pay attention to, because they're able to pierce through that Bastiladon's heavy armor, and Kroq-Gar can just get in here and probably kill like 5 or 6 models on a single charge. And here they go, like just like that. Runs through them, and I didn't really ever cover it, but like when their Murderous Prowess went off, I just casted the biggest Curse of Enra here ever with the Skink Priest, and just got like 6 units to be debuffed by it at the same time. And I was like, oh, this is a perfect counter to the Murderous Prowess right now. But it lasts for so long that that spell just wore off, and they were able to start chopping through all my infantry again. But right here, my Saurus Warriors are still holding out and still taking out quite a few people. 74 kills on them compared to the 14 of these Dread Spears. Let alone, though, these Dread Spears have held out against the Horned ones, Feral Cold ones, and now Lizardmen as well. And so I'm trying desperately to try and finish off this Malekith, because he's so healthy still. Like 1268 HP, 1791. Like I have 3 heroes though, but he has his hero coming back. He has his other hero coming back. So I'm just like, Kroq-Gar, finish him, and he does. He gets a good hit off. This man dies right there, right on the floor. He gets punched in the face, karate kicked by a Carnosaur no less, and he dies. It's not something that you just survive. So what I should have done is probably pinched a little bit more money and put it towards Kroq-Gar and got like the Hand of the God, so I could have shot Malekith like right here. Would have been a great time, like while I'm dueling Malekith on a Carnosaur and I can't get any of these hits off, just punching him straight in the face with that magical bolt would have just done so much more damage for me than anything else could have. And now Stand Your Ground coming up, he has 82 melee defense. I just cannot get a break. I'm trying so desperately to hit him. Sacred Spawning Azotl going off because I need him to be as healthy as possible, and Revivification Crystal going off. So I'm just trying my best to keep Kroq-Gar in this fight, because if I can just get a couple good hits off with Kroq-Gar and Malekith, that'll make me win this game. So kind of throwing him around, trying to get some like cycle charges, like running around and coming back and chasing him down, and then like right here just turns into a mosh pit. Finally getting some good hits off on him. He wasn't able to get any of his magic off that he really needed to. And Kroq-Gar is able to finish the day with a couple good hits, so we need one more, and his morale should break. Hopefully, he just needs to take just a little bit of damage. Any amount of damage will be good. There we go. He took like 20 damage from something, and that was it. That finally broke him, but like I said, Malekith doesn't care. He'll stick around for forever. It was him versus 3 dinosaurs. And the carnage of this battle was just absolutely massive. Very unfortunate for my army, but Malekith, oh my god. 96 kills on him because of that Blade Wind just decimating those 3 units of Saurus Warriors that I had. That really turned the tide of this fight completely in their favor. If he had played his cards right, perhaps kept like the Cold One Knights alive for a little bit longer, or able to protect these Dark Shards a little bit better, they would have been able to focus the shit out of Kroq-Gar, and he would have died instantaneously. But lucky for me, that did not happen. And that was a very atrocious fight, and I won. But very good game to my opponent right there. Hopefully I see you again on ladder, because that was very fun. And I enjoyed that fight quite a lot. So, as always, guys, if you like what you see, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'm probably going to kick up another campaign. Probably the, I don't know, maybe... I'm trying to decide who I want to do a campaign with next. I'm kind of feeling high elves. I already did one elf video, so maybe I should do a different kind of race, but who knows. We'll figure it out. Keep tuned, though. I'll be doing more stuff for sure. And as always, comment down in the comment section down below on anything that you want to see, or any tips or tricks you want to give me for how to do my videos better. Sorry, I'm kind of stuttering a little bit. And as always, guys, I'll catch y'all later.